Good morning and welcome to Public Perspective on AM 1340 KXEO. I'm Aimee Higgins, and today I am here with Gayle Adams, the Mexico High School wrestling coach, and our two Mexico State champions, Brit and Kellen Ekern. So welcome, guys.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So let's start at the beginning of the season. So tell me, going into this season, you had a lot of talent already there with Brit and Kellen, and was this Teresa's first or second year wrestling?
Second year.
Second year.
His brother Jalen.
Oh, okay. I
Yep.
didn't realize they were brothers.
And Dylan Patton
And Jordan Jones.
Yep.
So going into that, knowing how much talent you had, what were your expectations at the beginning of the season?
You know, I set our goals high. I expect our guys to compete every time we go out and wrestle. I expect I had high goals. I wanted a conference championship. I wanted a district championship, and I wanted to bring home a trophy this year. And, of course, I wanted state medalists, and I wanted to break the school record in state qualifiers, which I did that. I broke the school record with 10 this year. And we came up a little short in conference, losing to Fulton again by one match and coming up short in district again. And we just was out of a trophy this year, coming up fifth. So, you know, we got some lofty goals for next year, and I got the horses to do it next year. So, you know, we just start right back where we were like we was last year.
Right. So you push your wrestlers.
A little bit.
Tell me what a typical practice would look like. Britt or Kellen, why don't we go there? What does a typical practice look like for you guys?
Usually early on in the season, we usually have pretty tough practices just because we got to get back in the flow of everything. And just, like, we got to get our lungs better and stuff and get used to just wrestling matches and stuff. But usually we just start out and we'll run around, just jog for a little bit. And then after, might do a few sprints just to warm up, and then we'll do some stretches.
Run stairs or run the track a lot of the time, too.
Yeah, we did that early in the season before practice. We'd go out and the track to run. I forgot about that. And then a lot of times it's not real complicated. It's just a lot of drilling, a lot of repetition. It's a lot of sweating, really.
Yeah.
For about 2 hours.
Drilling the same moves over and over, mostly on your feet.
Yeah, we work a lot on our feet, and then if we got a little bit of time, we'll go on bottom and on top. And then towards the end, we'll usually get a little bit of live going just to get used to it.
All right. So what are the purpose of those drills?
You know, it first starts with our setups, and then it comes to our attacks, you know. And where we look at it at Mexico, we look at to score on our feet. And the way we do that, we break our opponents, we break their stance to get to our attacks, to get to their legs, to score our takedowns. And at the end of the day, if you can't take someone down, you're probably not going to win. So that's why we spend 90% of our practices on our feet, attacking with our setups, and on our feet to score takedowns.
Tell me a little bit about how you were feeling as the season progressed, about the progress that your team was making. Who on your team surprised you?
You know, really no one surprises me because I expect a lot out of them. You know, everyone asked me about Kellen because Kellen was out his freshman year, and he was kind of a hidden secret for us this year. He wasn't a secret for me or Sinjin, my assistant coach. We knew how good he was, and we knew in the room he was going to wrestle with Brit and Jalen and Jordan and wrestle with the two assistant coaches of Sinjin and Jake Vitale. And I just knew we were going to push him to get him to where we needed to. And, you know, like I said, I don't feel we have surprises. I feel like we're the best team in the conference, in the state, and we're going to push people to the end.
When you guys started this season, did you all think that you would end up where you are now?
I'll start.
I kind of had you said.
Yeah, I'll start. Yeah, this is my goal for this season. Last year I came up short and got second, so really from the first practice I was going towards getting a state championship and stuff. So this is where I looked at being. I didn't know exactly how it would turn out, but this was the plan.
How about you, Kellen?
Start of the year, I thought I'd just wrestle hard, see how it goes, and I was looking to place at state was what I was looking for. But then as the year went on, I saw who all was at the weight, and I knew I could have a good shot of winning it.
Awesome. Tell me a little bit about those first few duels. How was your record? I know you said that you lost to Fulton, who ended up actually doing pretty well at state. Is that correct?
Yeah, Fulton ended up third in state, and we finished fifth in state. They won our district. We got second in district. They won our conference. We got second in conference. Their dual record on the year was 21-1. Our dual record was 21-2. We lost to Fulton, and then we lost to a team out of Nebraska that is returning 6-time state champs. So really our schedule prepares us for our state and our district run, so our kids know every time they go out to wrestle, they have to be ready to wrestle. So, come Saturday, I'm not worried about my guys at the state tournament. I know they've seen the best and they're ready.
And they certainly were. So at the state tournament, you all, and I'm sorry, I just have to ask this because I want to know. You all wore your coach's face on your chest on your sweatshirt. I wanted to ask you then, so tell me about that. What was that about?
All right, on the ride back from one of the duels towards the end of the year, which I can't remember which one it was, but on the ride back, like we're all talking about it up front with Sinjin and Jake and Tool, and we just thought it'd be cool. College wrestler did it. That's real good. What is he now?
Jordan
Oliver.
Yeah.
He put
John Smith.
Yeah, he put his coach on. John Smith is his homeboy. He put that on his shirt, so we kind of took that from him. Thought it was a good idea and stuff, and GA is our homeboy, so.
How did you feel about this?
I feel privileged because in the wrestling world they did it with John Smith, and John Smith's two-time Olympian and has coached at Oklahoma State for over 25 years, and he's been recognized in the sport of wrestling. And I know my guys sometimes they don't like me because I push them to the limit, but I think deep down in the long run they know that I have their back and I'm doing the right things for them, and I do truly think that they love me. They won't say it, but I know they do. So.
Well, I would say that they have to because they're going to have those sweatshirts unless they took them out and burnt them right after the tournament, and I seriously doubt they did. We are going to go ahead and take our first break, guys.
Cool.
You are listening to Public Perspective on AM 1340 KXEO. Welcome back to Public Perspective on AM 1340 KXEO. I'm here with Gayle Adams, coach of the Mexico Bulldog wrestling team, Brit Wilson, and Kellen Ekern, state champions. So we are going to start with Brit, and we're going to talk about your experience at the state tournament.
Well, obviously it was a good state tournament for me. Let's just talk about who I was wrestling. First round, I had a kid that I'd wrestled earlier in the year. He was from Sullivan. He didn't have a real good record, but so I knew I could beat him. I wasn't scared. I already pinned him and everything, so I just went out there, made sure I wrestled good. And I pinned him first round. So that was good because then if you win your first match the first day, you get the rest of the day off, and you can just relax and just get your mind right for the next day. So second round the next day on Friday morning, I had a match against a guy from Marshall who I wrestled him during a conference duel, and I beat him. I think I ended up pinning him also. So that was a good win for me. That was nice. And then, so I know I had some time to rest for the semifinals that night. And I knew that was going to be a tough match because I wrestled this kid early in the year. And we were having a pretty good match when I wrestled him before. And I kind of caught him. He tried to do some funk on me. And I caught him in a tight spot and pinned him.
Can you define funk for me?
Personally, I don't really use a lot of funk, but it's just, I'm a pretty straightforward wrestler, but it's usually when you just kind of do something just kind of weird. It's unorthodox, just like diving underneath on the legs or just doing weird stuff. It's hard to explain, I guess, but.
Thank you for clarifying that.
Yeah. But yeah, so I knew this kid, and he was real strong. I knew he's a senior and everything, so he's a pretty strong dude. So going out there, I knew I had to wrestle smart. And all right, so when I got out there with the mat, I remember we just shake hands and stuff, and it really didn't start out very good for me. I don't know, I didn't have my mind right or something, and he took me down, and I escaped, and then he took me down again, and I escaped. Partly, I was kind of circling into a shot. I was circling right instead of left. I wasn't really doing the right thing, but once I got my feet back under me and I realized what was going on, I wasn't worried or nothing. I knew I could beat this kid. I knew he's strong, but I knew he didn't have a big gas tank and that he'd tire out eventually. So I just kept doing my thing, and I remember I ended up getting away, taking him down, and then I just remember I ended up pinning him, which is pretty.
So that's then 3 pins at the state tournament.
3 pins so far.
Okay.
But yeah, that match was it was a good match for me because it just had prepared me for the finals, because having a tough match in the semis got me ready for that finals match, because I knew that'd also be tough. But then so our Saturday, woke up and had time to rest, went weighed in, got a little practice with Kellen over at the Hearn Center just to get ready for my match, and then chilled for a little bit. And then when we finally got over there, we went there, and they started at 4, so we were just hanging out. And I just stayed down the tunnel. I just want to make sure I had my mind right for this match, because it's the biggest match all season and stuff, and I really didn't want to lose this one. So I just stayed down there. I kept my mind right, stayed focused. And then I remember going out there, running out from the tunnel, standing on the line, and they were calling my name. And I got on the line, and I just stared them down, because I knew. I mean, usually I like staring them down, because if they look at you, like if they don't stare, if they don't keep eyes with you and they look away, you got them.
Yep, and that kid definitely did not even look at you.
He was. When that happens, you one up on them, and that's that's a big confidence boost. And I just went out there, wrestled a smart match. I was just trying to get on my shots. Almost had a couple takedowns early on. He was defending them pretty good. It wasn't bad. And then I ended up getting my shots in, got an escape, and ended up winning 5-1. And got the state title, which was awesome.
Yeah. So something I noticed as you were, and this is for both of you actually, how humbly you won that match compared to some of the other kids that were out there that were winning, doing backflips. And I understand being excited, but you all seemed more gracious. Was that coached, or was that just them?
Oh, it's probably them, because I'm pretty excited and I'm pretty high energy over there. But I think that's just how Brit and Kellen are. They expect the greatness of what they do, and they knew they were going to win that title that night, and they weren't surprised. And I think that's just showing their character, who they are, and what kind of kid they are in the school and in the community.
Most definitely. Kellen, tell me a little bit about your experience at state.
My first match, I had a kid out of Buffalo. I didn't know much about him. No one I had really wrestled him. I hadn't wrestled him. So I just went out there at the start. Didn't know what to think of him, but I ended up pinning him pretty quick in the first, like a minute and 30 seconds or something. And then my second match, I had a kid out of Cameron. And Brit, he pinned him real early in the year pretty quick in the first period. So I knew he was not the best. And I went out there and I attack pinned him pretty quick. And then in the second period. So then going into my semis, I got a bad draw kind of, and I had the other best kid in the bracket in my semis match. And he was from Clinton. Short, real strong guy. I knew that was going to be a pretty tough match. So during that match, it was 0-0 going into the second period. I got an escape, so it was 1-0. And then he got an escape in the third. And it was 1-1 going into overtime. And we were kind of just back and forth, not doing much in overtime. And then with about 5 seconds left, I started getting something going in the front headlock. And I ended up scoring with 2 seconds left to win that match. And that was a pretty intense match.
Sounds like it. I missed that one. I'm
Yeah.
sad. That would have been a good one.
But then I knew the guy I had in the finals, he wasn't as good as the guy I just beat in the semis. The kid from Oak Grove that I had in the finals, he only won by 1 point to the Fulton kid that I had already teched earlier in the year. So I knew that wasn't as tough as a match, so I just had to go out there and get focused to know. I knew I should beat him, so I just had to go out there and do my thing and win. And I ended up beating him 9-4, I think. So that was it.
That was it. So tell me, Coach, about how did you help them get their mind in the game after they didn't really did you all wrestle before 4 o'clock on Saturday?
Or we just practiced.
drilled,
You just practiced.
Yeah, we had a quick practice.
So going into that's like an entire day. How did you keep them focused?
As a coaching staff, with my son, St. John Adams, and Jake Vitale and Alex Toole, Jake and St. John and I have been there before, and we kind of talked about it, what we kind of need to do, and we started it last year. The guys go weigh in, and then they go eat a good breakfast, and then they go work out over at the Mizzou Arena, and then we kind of get them off their feet and let them rest and let them watch them wrestling. We try to not let them focus on just wrestling that day. You know, we want them to go have fun that morning, kind of hang out and eat breakfast, and then kind of get a little sweat going that morning, because that's what they're used to. They're used to weighing in the morning, getting a little something to eat, and then wrestling throughout the day. So we try to make it as real as we can throughout the season on that day. So that's how we kind of operate on that day. Kind of touching on the matches, you know, Brit wrestled a Carrier in the finals from Oak Grove. He was a last year's state champ at 160, and then as a junior, and when he was a sophomore, he took second in state. So Brit beat a real good kid, you know. He was a 3-time finalist, 1-time state champ, and so we kind of, you know, Sinjin is a great coach to have in the room. And Jake are encyclopedias on these kids. They watch them, they kind of know. But at the end of the day, you know, what we tell our guys is they just have to wrestle their style. That we're not trying to beat one certain kid. We're trying to have kids beat us, and, you know, and we have certain styles, and Brit wrestles totally different than Kellen, but they wrestled not to lose, and these kids wrestle them to beat them. And so we don't game plan. We don't change their style. We're here to wrestle our style, and we make people change to our style. And then Kellen, his semifinals match against the Clinton kid, Grant Taylor, he was a 4-time placer. He took 6th his freshman year, and he's actually took 3rd 3 years in a row. Britt actually beat him in the quarterfinals last year to knock him out on the backside. So Taylor's been there before, and like I said, as a coaching staff, we knew if Kellen could get through the semis, we had a great chance of being in the finals. I like Kellen's final matchup a lot better than Britt's, just because we didn't know the uncertainties of Carrier. We knew he was a good wrestler. We knew Brit was the better wrestler, but Oak Grove, you know, they're 16 times returning. They've won state 16 times at the state of Missouri, so they got a great tradition. So we knew we had to be on top of our games, and they got a great coaching staff over there too. So, and at the end of the day, you know, I know Vitali and Tool and Sinjin talked to the guys. And, you know, really my only words to them was, you know, just wrestle their game, wrestle their match, and stay focused and wrestle hard and do what we've done all year. You know, I didn't want to put pressure on them because I know how hard it is, and I know Sinjin and I was going to coach them the best we could that night, and they know that we're intense and they were going to feed off of us. And I think in that semifinals match of Brit's, when he kind of went down against the Cameron kid, he kind of walked back to the middle mat in the second period, and most coaches are yelling, hustle back, run back. And I look at Brit, and I tell him to stay focused and slow down, take a deep breath, and slow walk back to the middle. And, you know, and I think that Brit kind of looked at me and shook his head, and he kind of knew what we wanted, and he kind of calmed down, and you could tell the pressure was off of him. Then he knew that Sinjin and myself had all faith in him, and that he could go out and do what he could do. And, you know, I think Brit and Kellen wrestled a near perfect state tournament. You know, they didn't give up many points. They were in control. They had their weight under control the 3 days, and they ate right. Their sleeping habits were right, and I thought they did a great job.
They most certainly did. And it's time for our next break. You are listening to Public Perspective on AM 1340 KXEO. Welcome back to Public Perspective on AM 1340 KXEO. I'm Aimee Higgins, and we are still talking to Gayle Adams, Brit Wilson, and Kellen Ekern, and we're talking about wrestling. So let's talk about the rest of the team members. They all did fantastic at the state tournament. Tell me a little bit about their journeys.
You know, we broke the school record this year with taking 10 kids to the state tournament, and last year we broke the record with 8, so we actually did a great job taking 10 this year. And the Jordan Jones was a senior. He was a 4-time state qualifier, 3-time placer for me. He actually holds the school record in wins, career wins, with 171 wins, and he ended up 4th. Came up a little short in his 3rd and 4th place match, dropping a match 1-0. Just didn't get a whole lot of offense going, but at the end of the day, Jordan Jones had a great senior year. He had like 45 wins, I believe, and he was a team leader, great kid to have on our team. And then our other 2 sophomores, Dylan Patton and Therese Aarons, they actually placed last year for me as freshmen, and they came back and placed again this year. A little story about Patton: he broke his thumb when we were wrestling Fulton in the duel, and he was in a cast, and Dr. Jolly helped us out and put him in a soft cast, got him back to wrestling. He wrestled with a broken thumb at the state tournament, taking 6th, so that was great to get him back on the mat. And then Therese Aaron, he's our big boy, and he took 4th as a freshman, and he comes back and takes 4th as a sophomore, drops a tough match in that 3rd or 4th place match. And, I look at bringing them guys back. We're losing Jordan at medal for us, but when you bring back the 2 state champs and a 4th place and a 6th place, and then we have a little Dylan Nichols that was 1 match away from placing, that's awesome, And then little Blaine Weberg, he had an up and down season all year, and as the season went along, he just kept getting better and better, and had a really nice year. And then the other 2 brothers that we have on the team, J.W. Turner and Wyatt Turner. J.W. graduates. He was a kind of a junkyard dog for us, kind of went out there and won us some big matches at times, and you never knew what you're going to get out of him. And then his brother Wyatt is a sophomore, so I got a nice little heavy class in that sophomore class. And Wyatt was sick. He didn't get to wrestle the month of January. He came back and got back in the lineup and qualified for the state tournament and won a match for us. So that's huge, not getting to wrestle all year. And then I got some young kids that didn't qualify for the tournament that are, already back at work and, lifting and wrestling and, trying to improve because they were down there watching. They want to be where their buddies are, trying to win a state title. And, more I preach to these kids about team, and it is individual at the end of the day, but they also want a team trophy for Mexico and for themselves because it just puts a lot of pride on their back, and they know what we have to do to get back to that level. So and we talk about it all the time. You just got to keep working, and because what happened last week, and it's done now, so they know they got to get right back at it, and they got some national tournaments coming up to keep honing their skills and working on that. So
what are you guys doing now?
Well, starting next week, I'm going to start getting back into wrestling and getting ready for Virginia Beach, which is sophomore nationals for me. And just keep working all off season. That's what everybody needs to do. There is no off season in wrestling. You just have to keep working hard and every day keep grinding.
This week's been kind of nice, just hanging out, taking it easy after school. But it's kind of like I already want to get back in the wrestling room just because I don't really like taking time off anymore because I know somebody else out there is putting work in, so I want to be putting work in too. So like Kellen said, next week we're going to get back in the wrestling room, make each other better, and get ready for that national tournament down in Virginia Beach. And I'm also going to a national tournament before that, Flow Nationals. That's going to be a big one for me, so hopefully I can place good down there. That's the plan, and then get some looks from some colleges.
Well, I would say you definitely deserve it. You all have been absolutely amazing. Coach Adams, what would you like to add about this season? Looking back, what was the highlight for you?
Oh, I think the highlight was just how the team came together and just kept working and striving to be the best that they could be. And they never gave up. They had that no quit, no give up attitude. And like our kids say, that man, they just knew it was a grind every day. And I just like how we just push each other in the room, from top to bottom. Everyone's working, everyone's pushing to get better. And I think everyone in our room has that one common goal, and they want to be the best. They want to beat everyone, just like the coaching staff wants to beat everyone. So I like our vision. I like I love my team. I couldn't imagine anyone else wrestling for us, and that's what's great, you know. And the youth is really picking up through the youth program. Our middle school programs really took off over the last few years, and I think, you know, they see state champs and state placers, and they see how these kids came up through the program, and parents are starting to see that too. And so now we got parents, you know, getting their youth kids in there wrestling for Mexico, and they know it can be done if they pay their price and put in the work and get after it.
So you mentioned, you know, the youth club, the younger wrestlers. But first, Brit, tell me about the highlight of your season. Other than the state championship, what was the highlight of your season?
Highlight of my season, probably going undefeated. That was pretty sweet. I really didn't know coming in the season if I would go undefeated. I really didn't even think about it. I know I could do it, but it wasn't really on my mind. And just towards the end, like, let's say before the state finals, when I realized that I could go undefeated and just how big it was, I really hadn't thought about it that much before then. And that was kind of the highlight, just being undefeated, just knowing nobody out there beat me.
No, they didn't. Kellen, tell me about the highlight of your season. Of course, excluding the state championship, because we know that was the true highlight of your season. So tell me what it was.
I didn't really have one particular highlight before the state finals. I'd say just the season as a whole was a highlight. Knowing that I didn't wrestle last year and coming back and having a good record and not losing that many times was probably the highlight. To know that I put in the work this offseason so that I could get here this year and just to have a good record and do well at the sport to win state.
And once again, I know that I've said this like 100 times, but congratulations to both of you and Coach Adams.
Right.
So I want to talk about, I want you guys to tell me a little bit, give the wrestlers that are coming up a little piece of advice. If you could tell little you something, what would you tell them?
I'd tell myself just try to have fun when you're doing it, cause especially when you're little, because when you get bigger and you get older, it's going to get real serious. And, I mean, it's still going to be fun. But when you're little, just try to have fun, try to enjoy it. And try to get your friends in it with you, because, I mean, it's always fun when you got friends there. It's not fun when you're alone. If you got friends, you know, like Kellen and the rest of the teammates, it makes it better. So just try to have fun out there and get your friends to wrestle with you.
How about you, Kellen? What would you tell little Kellen?
I would say always just to keep your head in it and keep working hard, and don't let yourself get burnt out on the sport, because that's when you get burnt out's when you start not wrestling as well. So just keep having fun, keep your head in it, and keep working hard, and you'll end up at the highest level.
Now it's your turn, Coach Adams. What would you tell all of the little wrestlers coming up?
Well, you know, and that's funny that my guys say that, to have fun, and it when you win, it's fun. But at the end of the day, you know, parents have to relax, and they're going to have fun, and they're learning the sport. If you get your kids out there to learn the sport, that's the key of it. Because like I tell my youth parents, let them have fun, win or lose, buy them ice cream, buy them a hot dog, have fun, you know, take them to tournaments, because when they get to me at the high school level, it's not too much fun, because we're running stairs, push-ups, you know, live goes, you know, and there's a lot of blood, a lot of sweat, a lot of tears, you know, and a lot of ripped clothes, but we're getting after it all the time, you know, and I just, you know, it's fun, and it's fun at the high school level, because the guys see results and they know what they've done to get to where they need to be. So,
as somebody who has spent a great many weekends at youth wrestling tournaments, I think you're completely right, all of you, about having fun and parents encouraging the sport. So I want to thank you for doing that. What would you all like to add? Got anything for me?
I just want to say thank you to the community and to the school for the support. It makes it possible for our kids to go out and compete. We got great support, and we're always looking for more support and fan base because I think we got the greatest sport here in Mexico, and I got a great group of kids, and on top of it, these two here are state champs, but they're also academic all-state too. They got great GPAs in the school, and they get recognized by the sport too. So, they actually get it done in the classroom too, and as a team, our GPA is over a 3.3 or something. Our whole team GPA. So my guys get it done on the mat and in the classroom.
That's really impressive. All right, guys, got anything to give me at the end of this?
Next year, we're going to be conference champs and win districts. There's no more getting second to Fulton.
You're absolutely right about that.
And a state title as a team.
There you go. And I know that you all have the team to do it for next year and, for the next 2 years.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you so much, Coach Adams, Brit Wilson, and Kellen Ekern for coming on Public Perspective today. It has been an absolute pleasure talking to you. This has been one of my very favorite interviews that I've ever done. So thank you so much. And I'm Aimee Higgins, and you have been listening to Public Perspective on AM 1340 KXEO.